Bright colors, horrible for camera. Here. I just got to Chicago last night. Yep, easy 12-hour nonstop flight. We did about 1,000 circles over Iowa. Did you do that shit too? Where'd you? Okay. Yeah. Were you on my flight?
Maybe 12 hours.
Yeah, the 12-hour one. Yeah. So let me tell you the story. You guys ever heard of United Airlines? Yeah. I know it's hard to insult United Airlines in Chicago because you're like, hey, we all have miles. It's like the only fucking airline at O'Hare. It's like you either fly United or you go fucking Southwest and Midway like a bitch. All right, that's it. I got on a flight from San Francisco. I flew yesterday, and at the last minute I was like, you know what? I deserve to sleep in a little bit. So I changed my flight at the last minute. I don't know how flight prices work nowadays. It was like, the flight that was like 2 hours later was like $300 cheaper the day of. Like that's how fucked up the industry is now. Like you pay for it, you pay 2 months in advance, like a planner, and they're like, yeah, pay us an extra $1,000, you know? And then so I saved $300 by getting a 2 hour later flight. I was like, that's the best deal I ever got in my life. Little did I know they had a plan for that plane. So I mean, and when I say like sleep in, I just mean to like 8, you know what I mean? Like I was gonna get up at 5, and then I get up at 8, and I stayed up all night packing, so I'm already tired. I'm like, I could've used an extra hour of sleep. And then I wake up like, but I'm gonna go to Chicago, and then I look at my phone, it's like, your flight's delayed 3 hours. Like I was like, okay, could've slept 3 hours, whatever. I'm not gonna go back. You don't go back to sleep at that point. That's like giving up, you know? So I went to the SFO. I went there like 3 hours late. I was just casually taking my time. So today's not so bad. Whatever. And then they're like, yeah, we need another hour because we deserve it. That was the reason. United just doesn't fucking tell you anymore. They're like, you're gonna be late. So I get on that flight and we're flying, and I'm like, hey, I might make it to Chicago tonight, you know? And my boy Eunice is sitting over here. I give him a little shout out because he's like, I'm gonna pick you up from the airport, like old school, like before they had Uber, He actually drives Uber, so it's a little bit. He's great, by the way, 5 stars. Like I recommend. Can you do personal Uber plug? Because I don't know if that would look him up. It'd be really crazy if you could search someone on Uber. Like I had this great driver last week. His name was Eunice. Eunice is like, I'm gonna get you. The original flight was supposed to land at 5:30, and then I was like, all right, it's gonna be 6:30. And I was like, all right, it's gonna be 8. And I was like, all right, it's gonna be 9:30. He's like, I'm just gonna hang out at O'Hare. I was like, bro, you don't need to. You're good. He's like, no, I'm gonna do other Uber when I was like, oh, I felt a little jealous, whatever. But and then we're flying, and we're about 45 minutes out of O'Hare, and I'm like, I can smell the pizza, And then I got a notification on my phone because I bought the free messaging for free, and comedy's treating me well. And I got a notification on my phone. It said your flight from Cedar Rapids has been delayed. I was like, I'm not flying out of fucking Cedar Rapids. And I was like, holy shit, did I get hacked? Because I signed in through my United app, so I was like, oh, maybe someone hacked me in disguise and bought a last-minute flight from Cedar Rapids to O'Hare. And I was like, what idiot even flies from Cedar Rapids to O'Hare? Just drive the 3 hours. But somebody's like, I do. You do?
30-minute flight.
30-minute flight. Best flight I ever took. You got off easy. Are you from Cedar Rapids?
No, I went to college around there.
You went to college there? Oh, damn, man. That's living the sweet life. Your parents like, guess what? For your birthday, we're going to fly you. Like, oh, that's awesome. So yeah, I'm like, somebody hacked into my United and is using my points to buy local flights. I was like, fucking Chicago and the crime rate. But I was like, this person also just loves Iowa too. So I didn't know what was going on, And then all of a sudden, I didn't watch any TV the whole time. I was doing work like a good worker, I was building license plates, what I'm talking about? And I turn on my screen. And I go to the flight map. That's the only thing I watch. And I don't want to watch their fucking whatever shitty. It's the same. When you fly as much as I do, it's the same shit. They refresh like every 10 years. Like I've seen Die Hard, you know what I mean? So I just turn on the flight map just to see like where we are. And I notice we're doing circles. And it shows you where you came from and where you've been. So I noticed we've now done 10 circles over Iowa. And I didn't even notice this shit. And now I'm like, okay, we got hijacked. Like we're about to do, like that was, Because I saw the circles, and then we started to veer off from the circle, and we're going back towards Iowa. So I'm like, oh, this is a hijacking for sure. Like, this is Osama bin Laden's revenge. He's like, I always wanted to get Cedar Rapids, Iowa. I was like, did Larry Silverstein build a new tower there or something? I was like looking it up. I was like, why are we doing a terrorist attack on Iowa? Those people don't deserve it, you know? I was like, South Dakota at least, like give us something. I knew that would make somebody happy. The rest of you guys like, hey, that's indigenous land, fuck you. It's all indigenous land, guys. Okay, land back. Yeah, land back, and that's why I did this mission. Spoiler alert, I hijacked the plane. That's the punchline. I didn't want to give it away, but yeah. So I'm like, okay, we've been hijacked. The hijackers are taking us to Iowa. And then you hear the captain come on, captain here. And then we're like, yes. He like really took his time. He's like, all right, so there's some weather in Chicago. It's like, no shit. They have weather too? That's what the pilots do. They're like, there's weather. They don't say it's like it's a fucking storm, we're gonna die. You know, they don't call it turbulence. They're like it's a little bit of bumps. You know, it's like they're having some weather over Chicago, and they can't take us right now. So we're doing some circles until air traffic control says that we can come in. You know what I mean? And my first thought was like, oh, this is because of the air traffic control shortage. You know what I mean? There's probably like ICE workers out there being like arresting air traffic controllers in real time. Like, so there's like less air traffic controllers. And so I was like, fucking true, you know? And then we're going in circles, and like we're doing that for like another 20 minutes. I'm starting to get dizzy, you know? I'm like, and then the pilot comes on, he's like, pilot here. Another long pause. We're like, yes? He's like, so our holding pattern has expired. Like, okay, speak English, motherfucker. Our holding pattern has like, what the fuck does that mean? Is that like the code for the engine is malfunctioning? Our holding pattern has expired, so we have to divert. Yeah. Now, fortunately, I went to college. Not in Cedar Rapids, but you know, I did my thing. And so I know what divert means. I was telling the other people on the plane who were a little confused. I'm like, that means we're going somewhere else. And the whole plane gasped, like, oh, divert, what does that mean? And like everybody was scared. But then he's like, we're going to Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Then they're like, fuck! They went from terrified to angry, like real fast. And then he's like, we're heading to Cedar Rapids. It's gonna take another 45 minutes. It's like, how does it take 45 minutes on a fucking 30-minute flight? I'm like looking at the map. I'm like, we're right there, dude. We're fucking right over Rockford or whatever the fuck it's called. Rockford, right? I can smell it. You know what I mean? And so I was like, we're right there. And so he's like, 30 more minutes, and then we're going, and then it's like new flight time, and then I'm like, and then I get another update, and it's like your flight from Cedar Rapids, Iowa is now at 11:30 p.m. And it's 9:30, so like I'm doing the math. I'm like, that means we're gonna land, we're gonna hang out in Cedar Rapids for at least 2 hours. And you know, like United, like whatever it is, add 2 hours, right? So I'm like, we're gonna be in Cedar Rapids past midnight. Do people do that there, you know? And so we land in Cedar Rapids. The one air traffic controller greets us. And we're like the one plane there. They're like, oh, welcome to Iowa. Nobody flies here. You sure you didn't mean Des Moines? Like, no. We had Cedar Rapids. And so we land in Cedar Rapids, and then they park us. They don't even put us at a gate. There wasn't even a gate available in Cedar Rapids. So they just literally parked us, and like another plane like pulled up, and they're like, yeah, you're here because of the diversion too? We're like, yeah, that's us. And mind you, there's a baby crying the whole time. Aww. Yeah. And you know, here's the thing. I tell people, like, I like to think I'm a nice guy, you know. If you know me, you know, I care about the world. I care about people, especially people who are suffering, people who are oppressed. I try to do my best to speak out for those people. But I will admit to you, I have this really, really bad dream of one day snapping and throwing a crying baby out of a plane. I might do it. One more United flight and I might do it. It's honestly, it's the only way I can cope. Because if you've been on a flight where the baby, because the baby usually, if there's a crying baby, they usually cry the whole time. They either don't cry, they're just a good kid, you know. Sorry, Didn't mean to offend half of your children, but, or they cried the entire time, from like start to end, right? And so this one she was crying the whole time, and she was either crying or she was like nagging her father or like trying to like hit him, and he kept saying like, Isla, stop it. And she kept going, and he's like, Isla, stop it. And so she was like, wait, and he's like, Isla, stop. That was the whole fucking flight. It almost became more annoying just to hear him saying it. Just like, wah. And he's like, Isla, stop it. It sounded like a shitty house song. Wah, Isla, stop it. Wah, Isla, stop it. And it was so fucking annoying. He's like, Isla, stop it. Like, she's clearly not gonna stop it. She just fucking stop wasting your breath. I'm trying to recover from this because I've been on so many flights with just crying babies, and literally the only way I've ever found to calm myself down is just imagining throwing the baby off the plane. That's the only way. It's the only way. You need closure in your mind. It's just like when they say you hear like a shitty song or like a song and it's like stuck in your head like an earworm. The only way to get it out of your head is to listen to the song, you know. And so that's what I do by imagining. I don't actually throw the baby off the plane, but I imagine, you know. And I stand for children, man. Children are, you know, we need to take care of our children. You know, we need to release the Epstein files, right? We need to fucking get rid of all these children who are, you know, in the hands of our fucking abusive government, okay? And at the same time, two things can be true. I want to throw a baby out of a plane. That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Okay? I think we should protect children in every other way until they cry on a plane. We give them the chance. We give them the chance. And then we throw them out. Okay, so the baby's fucking crying the whole time. The baby's crying even when we're landed, when we're grounded. My only trip ever to Cedar Rapids, Iowa is just reminded of Isla. Or as I call her, Kryla. Okay, so I mean, somebody had to. And then they're like, yeah, we're gonna be here for a while. And then so we're just sitting there parked, and they're like, okay, they finally, after an hour, they wait an hour to remove the seatbelt sign. They're like, we need you to stay in your seats. They wait an hour. We've already been on this plane 7 hours at this point. They're like, all right, we're gonna take off the seatbelt sign, and so if you want to stand up and walk around, you can, but you can't leave the plane because we're not next to anywhere where you can leave, right? So they undo the seatbelt thing, people are standing up, stretching, and then my row, for whatever reason, they're like, no, I'm just gonna sit here. I'm like, are you fucking serious?